Right, so last time I had mentioned, after putting this on, I had mentioned the little bolt here for putting on either the top or the bottoms. And I would say it's best to put on the top. Last time I mentioned that this was, I didn't see why the need for it. I didn't think about it after thinking about it, and it came to my attention that if you were to say loosen up the axle and don't have axle here, this bolt here is actually held on inside to the axle. So once the axle's out, this thing's basically could come out. And if the spool is on the stand here and there's weight on here, potentially it could come out, because this is this angle here is not tilted up very much. If it was tilted up more, chances are it's not gonna slide out, because it's gonna be because of the weight, it's gonna be pushing in. It has the side tilt in, so that's what this bolt is for. This little bolt here is to basically keep this this bracket basically in place, so it doesn't move. It's not there to hold the weight, okay? So don't confuse that. So that's why it's best to put this thing on top. Remember, once the weight gets on here, you will want to push. You will want to lift this piece up. So if you put the bolt on the bottom, the bolt will actually come down and touch the bottom against the bottom of the swing arm, the tube. So there's gonna be a tiny little gap here, and if the weight's on there, the weight's gonna be all on the little bolt. That's not gonna be able to hold that. So put it up on top, so that way it actually butts up on the top of the tube here, on top of the swing arm, and the swing arm is what holds the weight. Okay, so basically I marked it. I have the bracket right here. You can see where the hole is. I line it up, eyeball it, took a little sharpie, marked it that way, and I basically put this so that it's lined up this direction. I made a little sharpie there, and from there I basically just sort of drew a little plus sign, right? Then I took a center punch. This is a spring-loaded one. Mark my spot. Whenever you drill into metal, you always need to center punch it first. If you don't, the drill bit won't have any place to guide it. So when it's just smooth and flat, it'll actually, the drill bit will actually wander, and you will lose your spot where you want it to drill. So that's what the center punch is for. The instructions on the Yosh says use a 3/16 drill bit, and that actually works. It's I was looking at the size here, comparing the diameter. The 3/16 is the one that works. But before I'm going to do that, I'm actually going to pre-drill a small little pilot hole first. And I'm going to use my smallest bit I have, which is a 1/16. So I'm going to do 1/16 right here, then the 3/16. So let's do that real quick. So everything's marked, center punched. It'd be nice to have a little bit of oil on this thing, but I think it should be okay, because the hole is so small, and this is pretty thin. So I'm gonna see if I could get away with without any oil. And the speed should be nice and slow. Every time you drill metal, especially hard metal like steel, the speed should be nice and slow. So firm pressure, but not so firm where it'll break the drill bit. So firm pressure, nice and slow speed, and now I have a little nice pilot hole. So from there I could pop my 3/16 on here and get that correct size hole. And you always want to do a pilot hole first. The key to drilling metal, anyways, you look on the. Let me grab a bigger bit so you guys can see it better. So you look on the drill bit at the tip here, at the very center. There's like this chisel end. That spot right there is not, it doesn't really cut. It's it tends to wander. So when you drill a pilot hole, you have to drill your pilot hole so that the pilot hole is bigger than that chisel tip right there. So that's the key. So once you have that bigger, just a tiny bit bigger than the pilot hole. That's I mean the chisel tip. The pilot hole should be just a tiny bit bigger. Any bigger than that, it's you could actually wear out the shoulder here of the drill bit. So just bigger than that, then you could get your actual size that you need. So I've got my pilot hole. I could do the real thing. And this thing is, you know, looking at it, the hole is like literally, man, it's gonna be like right up against this lip here. It looks like it's only about maybe 2 millimeters. So it's cutting it pretty close. So you have to be watch out. You know, we have to watch out for that. And you know, looking at where my looking at on this bracket here, that's, you know, it comes out to be right there. You know, it's centered. My hole is centered with this bracket. That's it. I'm in. Watch out for the chips. You know, those metal shavings. They call chips. They're sharp. It's steel. So let's look at my little bolt here. Slips on good. Plenty of space. Well, not plenty of space, but you know, enough space to wiggle around, which is how it should be. Blow off any chips that are on this thread here. Slide this in and see how centered it is. So looking from the top, I am not quite perfect. I'm a little bit. My hole is actually a little bit inward too much, but it's, you know, the bolt will fit, but just a tiny bit inward by maybe half a millimeter or a millimeter at the very most. Depth wise, I could have been a little bit in another half a millimeter or so. So because the hole is a little bigger than the bolt itself, you know, it's gonna have that room to kind of you know, that room for the slack to screw on. Grab a little wrench for this. See what size is this thing. Looks like a 3 millimeter. Yeah, so it is a. Actually, no, it's not a 3 millimeter. It's a 2.5 millimeter. 2.5 millimeter head size, Allen head. So there it goes. It goes in. Yeah, so it goes in. So I'm gonna actually. Oh, I need to Loctite this first. So I'm gonna Loctite that, and then I'm gonna screw everything back in, and that's it. That's done. So you see that? There's no the bottom wiggles a little bit because, you know, there's nothing there, but the top doesn't. It's everything nice and flush. All right, that's it. So thanks for watching. So do the same thing with the other side.